170-pound national champion, Gabriel Arnold. Tell us how you're feeling.
Man, I feel excited. I'm pumped. Words can't even describe this feeling right now. I put in, a 2-week training camp for this. I went hard, I went up at the boom ranch, my guys, Shane Chittum, Coach Turner, Sean Russell, all those guys, they took good care of me out there. So, I just did a 2-week hard training camp from there, and busted my butt in the room, the hot freaking Cleveland room. I'm dying, drenched in sweat, it paid off, The finals then, I didn't score as much points or as many points as I wanted to, but those things happen, especially when you have such a great kid such as Cody himself, those matches are gonna happen. So I stayed composed. Even at those seconds, I knew there was times up, and I knew where I was on the mat. I knew I didn't get that point up, but points weren't scored, weren't where I wanted to be. But there's room for improvement for that. So that means I have something to build off of this finals match. Get better and better. Hopefully, my next time I'm competing is at who's number one in October for Flow, for that number one spot at 170 pounds. So by then, I'll have made all the necessary adjustments, and I'll be ready by then to take that number one spot. So.
Talk about the end of the match there. 2-1, close to a step out. What were you thinking as they were going through the challenge?
I obviously you have those nerves because you want that win so bad. I worked so hard for this, so of course I want that win as bad as I bet as Cody did, but I wanted it more. And they went through the challenge, they did all that. I wasn't worried. I knew where I was. I kept my composure the whole match. We were hand fighting hard. We were in the middle of the mat the whole time. But those things happen. The coaching, they have the right to throw that challenge. So they threw it, and I won it ultimately. So happy for that. So.
Gabriel, who did you embrace as you came into the end of the mat there as you were going down?
Probably it was either I repped the set, which is Team Georgia, or it was my dad. He's put a lot of time into me. This has been a crazy journey, and the worst part is it's only beginning. So people are gonna have to deal with Gabe Arnold for a long time. So.
Talk about maybe some of your goals moving forward. You talked about who's number one. Anything else after that?
Yeah, goal number one is, hopefully get invited to who's number one, and it's taking that number one spot regardless. I feel like I've worked my butt off to this point, and obviously I've had some tournaments that didn't go my way. World Team Trials, for example, was one of those big ones that I wanted really badly. Obviously I didn't make the world team, but again, we have a great rep out there who's doing great things. James Rowley, he just made it to the semifinals today, one of my good friends. We've wrestled a few times, but things don't always go my way, and as I mature in this sport, I start to learn that. So even though I had one tournament not go my way, my body of work throughout 160 and 170 pounds for my freshman and sophomore year is incredible. I've beaten top guys up and down the board, so I think I deserve that number one spot, and I deserve the right to wrestle for it. So.
Tell me what wrestling for Georgia means to you in the state of Georgia.
It's a prideful thing, We weren't as established as we are now, I guess you could say. We have top guys up and down the board. We got Noah Pettigrew, Caleb Hinton, Chase Horn, number one guy at 285. We have some of our guys that they aren't huge names, but they have amazing wins. RJ Weston's one of those guys. Cole Hunt, who's battling for an All-American honors, and juniors 113 pounds. So we have guys up and down the board, and we have guys who've even graduated this year. Caden McCray, Jackson Smith. These guys are guys I've grown up wrestling with over these last few years, and it's an honor to get to say that. And Georgia as a whole, we're coming up together, and I'm just happy I get to be a part of that movement. So
I see Tony Ramos here walking around with a Team Georgia shirt. What has he done to help?
It's been we had Coach Tony at junior camp, or not junior camp, but Fargo camp. And honestly, it was a great experience. He came to a few of my level up practices, and he rolled with me some. And the guy's a vet in the sport. Regardless if he's 130 pounds or 160 pounds, looking like the way he does now, he's probably gonna get mad at me for that one. But he's still an animal in his own right. He at Fargo camp, we went over our last session that day, the day that I left. We went over many small things that ultimately played a big difference in this weekend as a whole. Composure was one of those things. Shot finishing, there's gonna be times where I'm not gonna finish a single, but as you guys saw, I was able to get my chest up and get that one drive from out of bounds, And that's not just, me being a strong guy. They don't want to tell you, I don't lift a lot. I'm not the strongest 170 pounder, I'm not the biggest 170 pounder, but I put a lot of work into my technique and to make sure everything's crisp. And I've had guys like Tony Ramos himself, Coach Donovan, who's my club coach, Terry Allison, another club coach / mentor, Shane Turner, who is another great person and great coach, another great mentor, Shane Chittum. The list goes on and on and on. Scott Green, Greg Hagel, this list just keeps going and going. And, I take pieces, bits and pieces of each one of those coaches, and I add it to myself. That's what is pushing me to that next level. Every time I compete. This compared to junior duels, this game compared to junior duels. I was telling my dad, this guy would tech the guy at junior duels. That's a dangerous thing because I felt good at junior duels, but I felt even better here. I was on level 10 here. I was maybe at a level, maybe like 8 there. So, I feel great. I'm just ready to compete again. So, hopefully October is my time to go. They're calling me for the #1 spot at 170 pounds. So, I'm pumped and I'm ready. So,
Congrats, man.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
National champ.
Thank you.